Welcome to this week's episode of Faster Masters Rowing Radio. Grab a seat at the table as Masters rowing coaches Marlene Royal and Rebecca Caroe share their biggest secrets on how to unleash your hidden potential and plot a new course for real results on the water and off. Now, on to the show.
Well, hello everybody and welcome to another edition of Faster Masters Rowing Radio. Today we are talking about buying rowing training programs for yourself, your crew or your club. I'm Rebecca Caroe and I'm here today very much interested in the psychology here of what it takes to make a decision. The topic for today got kicked off when I got an email from a wannabe client who had been pushing her club and her club decision-making committee board to buy a training program for their master's group. I have presented the options to our club and pushed heavily for your program. Always nice to hear. There are some very vocal people who feel like there are robust free training plans online. Some suggest we reuse our plan from 6 years ago and that would suffice for our purposes. It's more of an uphill battle than I'd expected. Our next step is for people to submit their own recommendations for our committee to consider, and once that's done, we'll put it to a vote. She then adds, people are just very largely against paying for a plan and think that we have enough talented, intelligent people on our team to put together something that'll be good enough. We're a recreationally competitive club with no real desire to progress beyond that. What an interesting situation. And what are the things I've learned from talking to masters since 2019 when we started the Faster Masters business is that our challenges are generally similar, but the local situation has difference and nuance in it, which means that your situation may not be identical to someone else's. And there are several key points there. There's a committee that makes decisions. There are vocal people in the group. There are perceptions about the availability of something that's good enough, it'll do the job, that are free and available online. I'm going to pick those off one at a time. Firstly, when you find a free rowing program online, go and check that it's written for masters. And I am quite heavily adamant that that is the number one important thing that you want to do. If the program is not written for masters, you will have challenges. If you are an athletic, well-trained person, and you're probably around the age of 40 or less, you probably will have no problem using one of those free online programs. Most of the online programs are written for 2K racing and for junior or senior athletes. They're not written for masters. If you are, for example, a 55 to 60-year-old lightweight woman, you will not be able to do that program in all probability, unless you're a really exceptional physical specimen and you train very frequently. Equally, men and women don't always find it able to do the same program. Why? Our physiology changes through the decades. I've talked often about this, and I'm not going to go into a lot of detail, but at a high level, women in menopause, men losing testosterone, probably in their 60s to 70s, we are physically different. And so these things also have to be brought into consideration when you're planning rowing training programs for masters. Well, I would say that, wouldn't I? I'm selling training programs for masters. If you're interested in trying out a sample of some of our programming, you can get it for free on our website, fastermastersrowing.com/rowing-program. That's spelled in the American way, PROGRAM. Fill your boots. Now, one of the things that if you're buying a training program, it's important to speak to the person who's written it, not just about their credentials, but more about their experience. What experience have they had training masters? Maybe for indoor rowing, maybe for on-water rowing. Have they trained people who've raced? Do they have a good understanding of masters physiology and the massive divergence between an adult beginner who may come to the club with mobility issues, a bit overweight, inflexible, obviously new to the sport, compared with someone who's a returning rower who may be older but rowed in their youth and so has at least some rudiments of the technique already down pat? Do they know how to deal with adult novices? What should they be able to do? How fast are they going to learn? Should they be doing sweep or sculling? What are their capabilities? What are the rigging adjustments that you might need to make? And lastly, what are the general adaptations that are needed so that masters can row in comfort? One of the very well-known rowing podcasts called the Broken Oars Podcast did an episode in which they reviewed a whole load of different rowing coaching options online. And one of the things that they reviewed in their hour-long video was Faster Masters Rowing. And they are reviewing these from a point of view of anyone. Most of what they write and review is designed for younger athletes. But I wanted to show you what they had to say about the Faster Masters program. We didn't pay them. This is completely independent. And I think you'll enjoy hearing what an independent person has to say about what we do.
So this is a little training program. So normally I would say don't pay money for a 4-week training program. But this kind of ticks a lot of really good boxes for me. This is the Faster Masters Rowing training program for your 1K August, September peak. This is, I think, the American Masters Championship. This is going on a post-Henley pot hunt down to the little regattas, the St. Neots, the Sudburys, the Oxfords, all those great little regattas from Telford down to Stratford-upon-Avon, where you have to go fast for a short period. This is a 1K training program. So it's a very specific goal that you can't find a training program for anywhere else. See, masters rower, specific physical needs. It's an on-the-water training program, but it really ticks a lot of good reasons for spending money on a specific training program to get you from, let's say, your 2K fitness, where it's all about the aerobics, and then you realized it's like July 8th or something, and the hangover from Henley is worn off, and you've got to go and race somewhere else. You haven't won Henley. Like, everybody doesn't win Henley. Nobody wins Henley apart from like 1 out of 32 crews. You're not going to win Henley. You're going to get knocked out on the Friday by a bunch of Americans. It's going to be really depressing. And then you're going to make up for it by spending the rest of the summer schlepping around the country and racing at little regattas. And you want to go from like 2K speed to 1K speed. This takes you there quite quickly. So it gives you 1 week of training. And I'm not going to show you too much because Rebecca and Marlene shared this with me, and I don't want to do this, but this is specific preparation with a taper week. Okay, so it's very specific. It gives you 7 sessions or 7 days of training, and then it gives you 7 days of tapering. So the idea is it's a 4-week training plan. You do the 7 days of training 3 times, and then you do the 4 weeks, the week of tapering once. And actually, it's really good. So hang on, I'm going to show you this one day, which is very specific. It's race practice. Normally I say all the sessions on a training program should be done in minutes, not meters. But when you're getting closer and closer to the race and you actually need to practice your race form. This isn't a training program. This is a race practice program. So session 1, you hammer out from a standing start. So we start. You do your 4 times 15 stroke start sequences. You can do 1 times 500 meters. You're practicing the first 500 meters of your race session. The second part, you're going to do 2 by 750. You're going to practice the middle 500 meters of the race, and then finally 1 times 250. You're going to be knackered, and you're going to practice gunning your final sprint. Okay, so your category 2 pace, they've got like a little bit up here, and they'll tell you what your category pace is, your category 1 and category 2. Sorry, I'm skipping around. I don't want to share too much of this because this isn't my training program, but this is a good training program. It tells you how to train for 1,000 meters, which I found really difficult to get my training right for 1,000 meters. I love racing over 1,000 meters on the water, on the ergo, but this is really helpful. There you go. There's another reason to choose just a really short. You're going to pay, I think it was like $28. Now, the thing is, what I said, I gave a little bit of feedback on this to Rebecca, and I said, you've got this like 4-week training program, and then you can spend $100 for a 12-week training program. And that 12-week training program, it's $120, I think it is, for a 12-week training program that included a 1-hour consultation with either Rebecca or Marlene. And I said, what I'd really like is to be able to just buy that consultation by itself. Because again, the key thing is you want to be coached. You don't just want to have a training plan. You want to be actually coached. You want to have the guy who wrote the training plan or the ladies who wrote the training plan tell you what you should be doing. Because you're looking at this and it's like, I'm not sure. Resting pace, your base, race pace, like middle fight. It's like they explain it. Obviously I don't think that needs a lot of explaining, but there might be things you find confusing. So this is the next aspect that you can get to when you're talking about a training program. This is when you're buying time and expertise. So we have another look at someone else, because all these guys up here, coming back to here, this is like,
so here we go. A nice summary of part of the service that we provide. Lewis didn't fully understand some of the offering. In addition to that program, if you buy it, it's actually $39 a month. You get gym training, so land training, weights, core conditioning. You get a technique article, a peak performance article, a bonus, and a rowing lifestyle article. So actually there are 6 modules in there. The one-on-one consult, of course you can get that. We offer it. It's on the website. You can go and find it if that's what you want. And we also offer advice for coaches. If you're a coach and you want to use our programs for your own group, we sell them in a Word doc format so that you can edit them, put your own notes in, and adjust them to the needs of your particular situation. So thank you very much to the Broken Oars podcast for your guide to purchasing rowing coaching and for including us in it. If you are personally thinking that you might be interested in trying out a Faster Masters program, here's our offer to you. 100% refund, no questions asked, if within the first 2 weeks, that's 14 days, you're not completely satisfied. You keep everything that you've seen. We won't worry about it. So get in touch if you're interested. If you want to just take a look at a sample program, go to fastermastersrowing.com/rowing program. And I very much hope that we'll have the chance to catch up with you later on and another time so that we can do some more fun rowing together. Till next time. Bye-bye.
You're part of the Rowing Chat Podcast Network. Please tell your rowing friends about the show And if you've learned just one helpful thing from today's episode, please consider supporting the show for as little as $1 per month by visiting fastermastersrowing.com/podcast.